Senator Kamala Harris is trying to get into the reaction videos in the most cringy way possible, and Andrew Yang has launched a $1 million campaign ad buy.
We are back with Democratic strategist Don Calloway and senior policy analyst at the Independent Women's Forum, Inez Stepman. So let's start with Andrew Yang on the board with a big ad buy, 7-figure ad buy in Iowa. Let's take a look.
And his ideas are a blueprint for a new way forward. An economy where big tech and Wall Street are held accountable. A healthcare system with Medicare for all that takes on drug companies to lower prices. A fight against climate change that confronts big polluters.
We have to rewrite the rules of the 21st century so that they work for us.
Andrew Yang, parent, patriot, not a politician. A new leader who understands that what's coming is the greatest economic transformation in history and who can lead us in the fight for the future that we want.
Let me start with you, John. What do you think?
I love Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang continues to impress. He continues to kill it. He's won at every corner of this race, and it should be noted every time you bring up Andrew Yang, he has beaten senators, governors, and congressmen. So if his campaign stops right now, and let's be clear, he won't be the next president, but if he stops today, Andrew Yang has made his mark on history and he has won.
Nobody has praised him more on that regard than me.
Fan.
I mean, Overton window shifter, a new brand of politics. But Inez, I mean, that was a very highly conventional ad, and I think that it is. I don't know if it's a great move for him to be straying from the unconventionality that drove so many people to give him $10 million. It was that true authenticity and the lack of looking like a conventional politician is what drove him to success. And now he seems to be playing to type, and I'm not sure that that's the best strategy. What do you think?
You know, I had the same sort of wrestling in myself about this when I saw this ad. I was like, this really is just a generic politician's ad. And then I thought, so my first reaction was like yours. And then I thought, you know, maybe he knows that he has the dedicated Yang gang, and this is his opportunity to break into the mainstream, into older voters, right, who are going to expect this kind of ad. So maybe it's not a bad thing for him. But I think you're right that the thing that people like the most about Andrew Yang, I think, is two things. One, authenticity. You absolutely hit on that. He seems sincere. He seems serious about problem solving, whether or not you agree with all of his solutions. And the second part, I think, that people really like, and it doesn't necessarily translate to a centrist program, but the fact that he's willing to talk to people. And even with Bloomberg coming in, we just, you know, trashed Bloomberg and made a bunch of jokes about him, right? But Andrew Yang's response to that was, well, I don't think he has really articulated a good plan about this massive problem of automation. I think my plan is better. I'm looking forward to hearing him say something. I think people, there are a lot of people out there who are just waiting for somebody to be serious. And that doesn't translate to being milquetoast or not having your own ideas, but to be serious and to actually want to have a conversation with people who disagree with you. And I think there is a big...
He has a great civility about
I mean, you can just tell from this ad that the consultants came in, and he now has a very traditional ad firm behind him, and said, this is what the polls say. You've got your base. They love you for your nice little freedom dividend thing. That's cute. But here's, if we want to get to 5% and make the next debates, if we want to be serious about winning, you've got to do this more conventional thing and appeal to the suburban mom and the whatever and the whatever. I mean, you can just see the campaign wrestling with that right now, where suddenly it's real. It's like, oh, we've got all this money. We've got some momentum. We're getting on debate stages that no one else is. Time to play to win. And sometimes that's the worst thing that happens to a campaign. I mean, the Trump campaign never played to win. They always, the whole time through, they just did whatever the heck they wanted to do. And that, sometimes that is actually the best strategy, because you keep that authenticity. You keep that special quality that is why people are interested in him to start with. I mean, if you took Andrew Yang and you took the words universal basic income off the screen, this could be like a Pete Buttigieg ad.
That's true, but the tell for me will be if Andrew Yang starts to wear a tie. If he
that's gonna be the real.
That's the real tell. And
that's a good point, actually.
Because this right here, you have to remember, this is his first major scale ad buy. It's running in Iowa, maybe in New Hampshire. So those of us who are paying attention know him and love him for who he is, and who, you know, he's been this unconventional guy thus far.
He's not going to lose his base, that much.
He's not going to lose his base, but this is his first introduction to people who are not us paying attention in this primary process. And I don't know that you want to come out with like a Herman Cain with a dude smoking a cigarette, like, you know, that first intro ad, which was just bizarre. I think it's okay to play it safe. But when people, the thing about Andrew Yang that people love is when people meet him, when people see him talk, and he's got to maintain himself in that setting.
But playing it safe is not why Andrew Yang is popular. His whole thing was about speaking really like truth to power, calling out the system.
But the TV commercial is not the time to go rogue.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's
or
true.
not the time to stay rogue, shall I say.
His greatest moment on the debate stage was like, we're all sitting up here with makeup on our face, like this is a clown show, it's a performance. And that was like, that combined with this kind of relentless positivity was what really, I think, drew millions to be part of the Yang Gang. And I'm not really quite sure that this is the right way to go about it. Because the thing is, Inez, if a conventional politician, look, Bernie's got a $30 million ad buy, right? Like Joe Biden's he doesn't have that much money in the tank, but the super PACs have got quite a bit behind him. Elizabeth Warren's $25 million in the tank. They're going to outspend him on conventional ads all day long.
Buttigieg.
The Buttigieg is. I mean, we've played it here, millions of dollars. So if you're going to play that conventional game, I think you're going to lose. It's about being unconventional, getting the earned media for some of your interesting proposals. That's how you go forward.
The only shot. Look, I think obviously what he's trying to do here is to cement himself into a top-tier candidate that is taken seriously, especially by the media, in a way that he has not been because his campaign has been internet-based and different. And I do think that we have to cut him a little bit of slack because I think he's the first person to try to do this, right? To convert this sort of internet hashtag energy into an actual serious presidential campaign. President Trump was just President Trump. He didn't have to like sort of.
Well, he already had name recognition.
Yeah,
and all
I mean,
of that.
I think it's a little bit different with Trump just because of his personality and who he was, and the fact that he was a celebrity. Like that matters. The fact that everybody knew who Donald Trump was before he ever came down that escalator, that matters. But he's the first person to try to transition this. At some point, this thing does have to go offline and become a more sort of traditional campaign in some ways. I do worry about the same things you do, right? Which is this is not a great ad. I did expect something a little punchier or more interesting. I think there's some middle ground between this completely generic, like you said, you could take the name off, it would be any other presidential candidate's ad. And I think I'm giving him some slack here because he's coming off this bumpy ride that I don't think nobody else has done this before.
Absolutely, and I completely understand why they went in this direction. But I think Sagar's point is the right one, which is that he's never going to win playing the conventional game. All these other people have way more conventional artillery in their sheds. He is never going to win playing that conventional game. You got to lean into the fact that the media doesn't take you seriously. Lean into the fact that this is what makes me different. And yeah, it's riskier, right? It's riskier, but playing it safe is not going to work.
That's never how it works.
Sagar's got an eye on a Kamala Harris video.
We have another. This is one of the most cringeworthy reacting videos I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm going to throw it up. Kamala Harris with this new ad. Let's take a listen.
If it weren't so troubling, it would be really incredibly fascinating. And these are these moments where I really wish that I had taken more psychology classes.
The most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. There was no collusion with Russia.
Literally, Donald Trump plays Alec Baldwin so well. It's just amazing to watch.
They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
See, so Maya Angelou told us years ago, she said, listen to people when they tell you who they are the first time. And Donald Trump told us when he was running for president.
Don, who thought this was a good idea?
Listen, Kamala Harris is a top-tier candidate in the sense that those of us who are paying attention certainly know who she is. Sure. So once you reach that place, what you try to do is humanize yourself. I am just like you. In that lens, I don't frankly see this as that bad. We've got because we've got mainstream media breaking from programming to watch Pete Buttigieg go and pick up his morning paper, right? And the way that the media has kind of shut Kamala Harris out here, I do not see this as bad. I see this as a real attempt to try to humanize herself. Maybe the laughter was feigned to some degree. But I just don't. I don't see this as a mock type thing.
How is it humanizing?
It's not humanizing. It's fake.
People watch reaction videos.
Yeah, I know that's a bad reaction video.
No, the genre of reaction videos is a thing.
Yeah, I'm aware. That's why I was like, oh my god.
I don't see this as that bad.
I'm like, put this back in the box.
More than anything, what this reminds me of is when Warren launched her campaign and she did that whole beer. I'm gonna get me a beer. And I'm like, oh no, Harvard professor. Stop trying to be a human. Just be whatever you are.
She like reaches past the Beaujolais and the French wine. It's like, there's got to be a beer in here somewhere. Yes.
I've seen much worse. This was not that bad.
I thought it was horrible.
Okay, so I actually distree with you, Sagar, on one thing. I don't think this is fake. I think she actually is this awkward.
Oh God.
I think that, I mean, there's been a ton of these sort of, not a reaction video, but of her reacting to things and like with the really weird laugh and the, I mean, this is kind of the opposite problem as Yang has, right? Where she has this very, very serious, very top tier serious campaign, and yet her personality and the way that she comes off seems to just really make people laugh or cringe.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Who is cool, right? I mean,
not her.
Well, no. Yeah. Listen, when you were running for the presidency of the United States, you have been. What's the girl from the movie Election? Flick. You are Emily Flick. Tracy Flick. You are a nerd. You are not cool. You are the SGA president for your whole life. All of a sudden, we expect these to be Dolomite. Who are these people? Like these people are not.
Don't try to be.
Wait, first of all, Obama actually was cool.
Yeah.
No, he's not. Obama is the nerdy black dude
but he
on
at
the
least
block.
came off
But he was cool to
But
y'all.
he came
right?
cool. Yeah.
No, he's a nerd, man. Barack Obama is a nerd, and we're looking for some type of coolness or everyman factor out of people who are career
I'm not
nerds.
looking for cool. I'm looking for authentic.
And
when you have some stage,
no, I don't think that was bad, man.
I'm gonna give you a beer.
We love
live
Andrew
stream
Yang.
my trip to the dentist.
No, we just praised and lauded Andrew Yang for saying it's all performance, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking for authenticity in something that is inherently inauthentic.
But that's the thing that people have a problem with, right? Is the fact that it's inauthentic, is the fact that it's a performance. There is a backlash against this. And I think, to your point about nerds running for president, it used to be in the 19th century, right, that it didn't matter what a president looked like or what, then we had the JFK versus Nixon election and Nixon sweating and people who were on the radio heard it on the radio, thought that Nixon won the debate, but JFK, he looked like a president and he looked good. I think the same thing is happening here. You have a new generation of voters who do care a lot about authenticity. These are voters who are used to seeing access to a candidate 24/7. They do want to see some humanity. I actually think they're kind of forgiving about being of certain awkwardnesses because they're online all the time.
Can you imagine?
I think that this kind of stuff.
Can you imagine Bernie Sanders doing something like that? I mean, that's the thing is he's not cool, but people like him because he's himself. Young people like him because
he did that interview with Cardi B, and it was really fun.
And with Joe Rogan, he went on Joe Rogan show. It's like,
so Bernie Sanders is palling around with Cardi B. Do we believe that's something that he would authentically do? He's friends with Killer Mike. Do we believe that that's who he is? Do we believe that that's what his dinner table looks like in Burlington, Vermont?
Not.
So why are we holding Kamala Harris to the standard of looking for inauthenticity?
He's not trying because he owns being an octogenarian.
Like, these people are my best
it's
friends.
All
he's like, I'm so glad that we're all part of the same movement. And he's like, you're absolutely right, Cardi.
All of this is folly, man.
You know, it's like,
no. So what I can't have is holding up the black woman in this race to some type of inauthentic standard where none of it is authentic.
No, I mean, I'm about to listen to Lauren.
See, and it's easy to default to that, but what I'm saying is why we look at some candidates and scrutinize them in some ways that we don't.
If Kristen Gillibrand was still here, she'd be roasted.
You should hear the piece I did on Pete Buttigieg yesterday. Trust me, we apply with an even lens.
They're telling us we're out of time, so we got to go. But thank you guys. It's a great panel.
Always
a great Friday panel. All right. Next week on Rising, President Obama has avoided wading into the political waters of 2020, an approach that has led one author to dub him the OK Boomer president. He's going to explain more.
And a book that shares the story in the title alone. Homewreckers, how a gang of Wall Street kingpins, hedge fund magnates, crooked banks, and vulture capitalists suckered millions out of their homes and demolished the American dream. Right up our alley and yours as well. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you here for our weekend content stuff. Don't miss that.
See you tomorrow.